And that's a perfect segue into, I wanted to ask how you came about, we on a similar walk together, but how you arrived at the decision to adhere to a more plant-based diet, because and definitely we're in a period where it's a fad now. And so some people do it for the clout, some people do it because they want to post acai bowls on Instagram or Tulum and shit like that. But to your point of making these sacrifices, because anyhow, if you could tell us, enlighten the audience on how you got to that decision, why you did it, and if that's something, or how you go about communicating that to your clients.
Love it. So the first thing, my wife and I, because we've only been vegan now. This November will be our third vegan Thanksgiving. So it'll be a full third. And we've been vegan for about a little over 3 years. So, because we had started, a little over 3.5 years ago. And we were watching this TV show. It was on the Gaia Network. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Gaia. So we were on Gaia, and we're listening to people like David Wilcock and some other guys, and Corey Good, Emery Smith, and a bunch of random whistleblowers, and tons of different people talking about all kinds of things, aliens, all kinds of cool stuff. You can go on Gaia and you can see there's great yoga classes. There's all kinds of stuff on there, which is really dope. And one of these disclosure guys, and keep in mind, even when I was eating meat, I was pretty upset with certain things. Like I've still been upset with fast food, whether I was eating meat or not eating. I was kind of like, you guys are ruining meat. This is none of this is really that good anyway. Like, so all of those things really kind of bothered me. Nonetheless, when it came to food. So I've always been a big advocate about that. And just medicine in general. Doctors practice medicine, nutritionists study nutrition. So there's a little bit of a difference there. They provide nutrients in what they provide. So when I was watching this one TV show, and one of these disclosurists, and of course, he's talking about some off-the-wall wild stuff, but he said that he was in contact with someone, a being, whatever, and he said that the being told him he had to have a higher vibrational diet. And I was like, what's a high vibrational diet? Is that I've never heard, out of all the things I've heard, Atkins diets, all these different things, all this different stuff. What is the, you got paleo, keto stuff. You have all these different diets. And I was like, high vibrational. I've never heard that. It really intrigued me. So the first analogy, and I'll give you the same analogy, because this is what really sparked my interest. So the guy gives the first analogy. He said, have you ever taken a light bulb and you plug it into a fruit or a potato, orange or a potato? Did you guys ever do that in high school? Did you guys ever do that in school? You take a light bulb and you plug it into
life sciences. Yeah.
Okay. So if light and energy has a vibrational measurement, which we know that it does, then food has that same vibrational, measurement. And he was basically saying you want to have the light energy and the vibration that comes from the energy or light source from that food. So when we started looking at what would be higher vibrational on a scale, considering angstroms. Angstroms is a unit of measurement for electricity, right? So angstroms is going to be that unit of measurement. And ironically, fruits have the highest vibrational content. You take a light bulb and plug that bad boy into an orange, it's going to stay lit for a pretty long period of time. And it's going to keep going. But as the orange decays, so will the brightness of the bulb, which is very interesting. And there was something else that I also looked up. Have you ever heard Kirlian photography?
Mm-hmm.
Kirlian, it is like the photography of the energy around an object. So if I were to put my hand down, you would be able to see the energy coming around. Just like if I touch one of those bulbs and my hair stands up,
mm-hmm.
that would be where the energy is actually going. My hair is just along that path on the torus of my energy body. So nonetheless, I was like, okay, so all these high vibrational foods. So you had fruits, then you ended up having vegetables, then you ended up having nuts, then you nuts and seeds, then you ended up having cooked vegetables, then you ended up having raw meat and more organs of animals. Then you ended up having cooked meat. So cooked was at the very bottom. Anything ending up being overly cooked ends up losing its angstroms. So if I were to take a raw piece of salmon and then put it next to a cooked piece of salmon and do the Kirlian photography on the raw piece of salmon or fish, you would find much more electrical units and angstroms versus the cooked piece. And you can see that pretty significantly, which is why true carnivores have to have their food raw. They don't end up cooking it. It's also another reason why true carnivores like eating the intestines, the liver, the organs of the animal versus eating the outside as much. So as I started putting all these pieces together, I was kind of like, wow, that's very interesting. I've never heard a high vibrational diet like that. Let me see what it kind of does. So over time, because I have hunted, I've killed a lot of different things, especially being in military school. I've learned how to eat turtle, cook it on its shell, other animals, rabbits, make little nooses. Like I've hunted and cooked everything. So it definitely wasn't at first about the animals. It was definitely about a general sense of education and looking at the deeper why. And then I started kind of comparing that to our human society of what we're looking at when it comes to hunters. And everybody's like, oh, we're hunters and gatherers. And I'm like, it's really not that hard to hunt a cow or a chicken. And people are like, oh yeah, hunter gatherer. I'm like, okay, well, what's really running away? Fish run away, deer run away. You got to fight for those, right? Have you ever hooked a tuna? Yeah, you're reeling that thing for hours, bro. Like that thing is fighting. Deer gonna run away. Buffalo, it's probably gonna fight you or knock you over. But they're gonna put up a fight. So animals that put up a fight are gonna taste significantly different than animals that don't. And as I kind of started getting into that a lot more, I was like, you know what? Okay, so me and my wife decided we're gonna eliminate one kind of meat item over time. So the last time we had steak was in California. We went to a really nice steak joint in California, and we got rid of steak after that. The last time I had fish was in Hawaii. The last time I had cheese was in Italy. The last time, so I went.
You did it right, man. You said, hey, we doing
to eliminate these things. Like I went to the greatest sources for them.
On last tour of it all.
Yeah, bro. So I was like, I'm going to eliminate it. But I can also tell you right now, the same day you plant the seed is not the same day you eat the fruit. And there are a lot of people that don't know how to really hunt, that don't know how to really gather. So regardless of the food that we're kind of eating, there's a big convenience when it comes into how we take care of ourselves and what we're doing with our food. So for me, it was more, okay, I'm going to educate myself. I want to see how I feel. I'm going to eliminate these things over time. And there was one other thing that I did when I eliminated all the animal protein. As I eliminated animal protein, I did the exact same workout every day. It was a general workout that wouldn't overwork me, that wouldn't overwork one muscle group. I just wanted to see like 2 chest exercises, 2 back, 1 shoulder, 1 arm, 1 tricep, and a couple good leg exercises. Nothing. And I wanted to see how my energy would feel. It wasn't that the weight was crazy heavy. Right? It was just simple. How would I feel as I eliminated this animal protein? And interestingly enough, I ended up getting more energy. I ended up feeling I could lift more. I did get thinner, but I was also feeling stronger. So then I started realizing, like, is this my true size? Is this what my true muscle density would be like now that I've cut out all these other inflammatory responses, testosterone, hormones, and things coming from other animals? So it was really cool to see myself get. So I started at like 190. I ended up getting down to 175, but was lifting the same as I was doing 190. Then I started lifting heavier. and my weight only got back to like 183, 184. And I was lifting heavier than I was when I was at 190. So I kept feeling good. I'm 34. My skin feels I feel fantastic. So if I were to eat meat, I can tell you right now, it's because I killed it. And I would not eat meat unless I did the dirty work. So it's very like, I have a very energetic, avatar-y kind of like, you think of movie Avatar, like she kills a little thing and then she gets pissed off at the dude for like stirring up, all the stuff in the movie Avatar. And she prays over the animal as she kills it. I think that I think that we would be able to separate true hunters and gatherers very quickly if someone actually had to pull the trigger or kill something. Because there's a lot of people out there that would be like, oh yeah, I'm a hunter. I'm like, I don't really think you'd actually pull the trigger. I think you're kind of a little bit of a bitch, but that's all right. That's cool.
That's